skip level. Let's quickly talk about skip level. I've seen a lot of videos out there, especially on TikTok, where the word middle management is used for every manager. So meaning that if you're not a CEO, you're a middle manager. If you're a first-line manager, you're a middle manager. But that is not quite accurate. So let's just explain the way we see it and have experienced it. In corporate, for example, the minimum amount of levels between IC, individual contributor, all the way to CEO is usually on average 5 levels. And so you're an individual contributor, you're on that first level. You are being managed, your team is being managed by a manager. They're normally called first-line managers. Now you could have in an organization a number of first-line managers, let's say 5 first-line managers. They need to be managed too. And so they're being managed now by the next level up. And that could be directors or VP, depending on the size of your company, depends how big that company and the teams are. But you basically go from first-line manager, which is like sales manager and senior sales manager. You then go to middle management, which is director, VP level. It's really important to distinguish this. Why? Because it's the first-line managers that are really feeling the pressure from top down and bottom up. I call it sometimes the sandwich situation, where you have those 2 breads and the fillings, and everybody has an opinion about the filling. And there's a lot of judgment, I guess, to some degree, but also misunderstandings. And if something doesn't go right, it's usually a first-line manager who has to solve it. If something goes really wrong, it's usually the first-line manager who gets the blame. If something goes really great, it's usually everybody getting the credit except for the first-line manager. Now, that's not always the case. I'm not saying this is the case across the board. Absolutely not. But given the data right now that we see and we keep hearing, and when you start observing and really dig deeper, you find the data yourself, it speaks volumes that the burnout rate is on a sharp rise for first-line managers. And there's a reason for that, because the first-line managers are not just leading a team of individual contributors that could be any size, up to 10, 15 people sometimes. Not just do they lead that team, but they also report upwards. And as I said, anything that goes wrong, they really have to figure it out in most cases. The downside also with first-line manager role, from what I've heard, what I experienced, what I've seen and talked with other people about as well, it's the lack of onboarding. You're being promoted into your first-line manager role. You usually don't get a proper onboarding. You don't get training. You don't get coaching. For some reason, that perception is the minute you enter that job, miraculously you know everything. And you most likely will have heard phrases like, well, figure it out. It's your job. You should know it. Fix it. I mean, add anything that you've experienced, but that's certainly what we've heard. And small disclaimer, I have a background of 20 years in tech sales in corporate environments for the majority of the time. And I certainly seen the different levels and the different structures and the different frameworks and how they all interact and connect and work together. But today is the shout out to the first line managers, finishing this off today. You're a first line manager. We see you. We know you're probably going above and beyond. And we know that you are giving your very best. And so keep doing your very best. You need onboarding, you need training, you need help, you need guidance, you need advice. You want to unpack certain situations or something that doesn't make sense to you, give us a call. That's what we're here for. We're helping employees, and that includes first-line managers, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the topic is. Give us a call. Happy to connect and have that chat.